I thought I would plunge straight in with an example. So we're going to talk about crime, and the essence of crime is it's an adversarial thing, and it's about, if you like, a competition between the awareness of criminals and people who are potentially victims, or people who run systems that are trying to detect. So it's got that adversarial nature to it. It's not a benign environment that you're looking in, perhaps from a medical environment or a safety environment. It's about, there's a competition to it. So this is a little bit small to recognise, but this is Manhattan in America, and these dots around here are cash points. Manhattan is the kind of financial district in America, and each of these dots is a cash point. And what this slide is showing is essentially the activity of part of a criminal gang in America as they wandered around these cash points. And you can see from the kind of U-shaped arc they took, and there's some photos associated. So photo 1 is when they started 4:31 in the afternoon. They started in the afternoon, and they went to a cash point and they withdrew. I can see here. They made a couple of withdrawals there, about $4,500 from the cash point. I'll come on to explain how they got into the systems and what was going on. But they made some withdrawals, and they very systematically, you can see they ended at about 10 o'clock. So over a period of about 6 hours, they very systematically visited about 100 or so, just shy of 100 cash points, and at each cash point they made a couple of withdrawals of small sums. You might say, why did they have this pattern? It's because they were aware of some of the limits and some of the detection mechanisms that banking systems have, and they didn't want to trigger an alert, so they made very many small withdrawals, and this is their activity. And this is only one gang that struck at it happens to be in Manhattan, but this was a multinational effort across lots of countries. And this indicates, it gives you a measure of the kind of the appreciation of the criminals for the small window of opportunity they might have had to exploit this weakness that they found, this opportunity they had. They knew that their actions would be detected eventually, so they had to act as quickly and as geographically dispersed away as they could to extract some money from the systems. So these guys who were wandering around in America happened to be caught, slightly angled. As an enterprise as a whole, this particular attack managed to get just shy of £30 million, and it was that pattern of activity that you saw for Manhattan happened across a number of countries, happened across about 20 countries. So it was a very geographically dispersed kind of thing. These are the guys posing next to a pile of money. They were not perhaps the brightest side of the operation, in that they posed with piles of money, and also, some of the things they did with the money kind of gave them away. But we'll see that the gangs are very kind of have definite roles, and there's a small core of expertise, and then there's lieutenants and a range of other people that get involved in it. So this particular crime was about some cards that were compromised, some payment cards that were compromised, and normally in those circumstances the damage is limited because it's limited to the amount of value that might be on those cards. So in this case it was only, I'm not sure if I say it was less than, I'll say on the next slide, less than say 10 cards that were compromised. It's a small number of cards that were compromised. But what was unique about this attack was that they managed to, in a sense, not just acquire the money that might have been in those accounts with those cards, a small amount of money, they managed to get into the banking systems and effectively reset the limits on the cards, take away the limits on the cards. So the money that they ended up stealing was really the bank's money. It was money that was sitting in cash points waiting for people to be coming to withdraw. So in this attack, it was really more the banks that were the victims than the cards that were compromised. And there was a core, if you like, the hackers, the people who got into these systems and exploited the weaknesses. They weren't caught. The people who were caught, if you like, were at the periphery of this arrangement, and this particular game, and the cachers, as they're called, the people who were monitorising the exploit, they were the people who were caught. And they were only one game in the US who were caught. There were games in other countries who were caught doing something else. So the hackers essentially were penetrating the systems and doing, if you like, the high tech, the smart bit. The cachers were doing kind of the leg work, the walking around, the things. They had a little bit of expertise. They were sent the information, they loaded it onto the magstripe on the cards, were able to make the cards and go around and did it. But the expertise, the people at the core of this, weren't caught.